Obviously, doing this with hundreds of objects would be rather difficult. The good news is that MaxScript can perform this operation with a single line of code. Let's create a box, then create 10 copies of that box in a row, then clone that row 10 times, giving us 100 boxes which are completely unique. We can change any of the parameters of any of the objects independently. At this point we can select all the objects and type in the listener $height controller is equal to Bezier float. Now, selecting any of the objects and changing the height is going to change all the other 99 objects, while changing the local properties does not propagate and affects only the local object. We can also select a couple of objects and assign an instanced controller to their height sex property. At this point we can change the number of height segments in any of those objects and propagate the change across all the objects that used to be selected. This is getting even better because we are instancing an animation controller, which means that animating the height of any of the boxes is going to animate all the boxes. Of course, this applies to the other property that we instanced. We can change the height segments over time, and only the objects that are sharing the instance controller are going to make those changes. In this case, we used a mapped function, as we saw previously, to evaluate an expression on the right hand side, in this case a constructor of a Bezier float animation controller, then the resulting controller object from the evaluation of this expression has been assigned to all the objects on the left hand side. Let's take a look at another very exciting possibility. Reinstancing previously unique objects. Let's create a couple of boxes and clone them as copies. We're going to create 10 unique boxes. Changing the parameters of any of those boxes does not affect any of the others. But what if at certain point you decided that those 10 objects should be instances? Using MaxScript and a single line of code, we can re-instance those objects to use the same base object. For example, $base object is equal to the first object, that means the selection, first object from the selection, base object. If we execute this code and change any of the parameters of any of the objects, all the other objects react as instances, because the definition of instance is sharing